Hello, Kabelo.
Um,
How are you?
Hi, Zuki. How you doing? I'm good. I'm good.
I'm good. I know the students at the academy call you something else. What's your rap
What
name?
really? Kabaweezy. Yeah, that's me.
Oh,
Kabaweezy.
easy.
I'm 23 years old. Yeah, that's me.
And I've known you for about 2 months now. That's so crazy. And
That's right.
yeah, but tell people who you are, man.
So my name is Kabelo. The reason why I met Zuki was because I was trying to explore different ways of learning. I've literally been to varsity. I've been to We Think Code, which is a peer-to-peer learning school. And when I heard what Zuki is doing, trying to figure out who we are as people and see where what we're good at and how we can fit into the bigger picture of things. I really thought I love these new ways of learning, and
Yeah.
her program is probably like one of the most advanced ones that I know currently, and I'm literally enjoying it. And we got hit with this pandemic, and now I start seeing the actual value of what we're doing here. Just we need new ideas, and this platform is a great way to develop these new ideas.
You speak about me as if I'm not right here.
Oh, wait.
But what's the name? What's
What's
the
we
name of the
conversation?
academy?
IGY, Innovators Gap Year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell
Cool,
people
man.
about it and they just hear Gap Year and they're like, oh, okay. Well, I'm
I
like, yo, it's
know.
actually way more than that. I like 21st century humans. That one, I think it hits more like, oh, this is like, we trying to train people for the 21st century.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's an ongoing debate, right? Whether we call the academy IGY Academy or Innovator Gap Year, or we stick with 21st century humans, because that's exactly what we're trying to do, right? Is
Yeah.
reimagine what the 21st century human looks like. But enough
Yeah.
about that. So one of the things that we do at IGY, we created this platform where you guys, as students, you get to voice your own opinions, right? Through that speakers platform. And your topic that you did recently was universal basic
Universal
income.
basic income. Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought we could explore that topic and the many different ones that came up during our speakers platforms, and basically to give everyone a view of the world from the mind, the eyes, the heart of a 23-year-old.
The reason why I picked this topic is like I'm someone who's very passionate about technology and I love the advancement that's happening in technology. So one of the biggest issues that we are facing is automation and artificial intelligence taking over like different jobs and people being displaced from these jobs. So universal basic income is sort of a solution to that. The problem is like right now people think that okay that when automation comes through, people will just have different jobs to do. But in the past, we went from farming to like an office job. So you can take someone to school to go learn how to use their brains for the first time instead of just manual labor. But today, robots are displacing jobs that you use your mind for. So it's really hard to train someone from being a professional lawyer to a coder. It's not a realistic thing. You need certain skills for that. So universal basic income basically gives people a monthly income to survive on, and then they can start trying to figure out themselves in this new economy where they can fit in. It's like a net to help keep people progressive and moving forward with.
Where did the idea for a universal basic income come from, and when? And is it something that is even real and implementable?
Yeah, well, yeah, the idea is actually a pretty old idea. I can't get, it's probably like 18th century or something like that. I don't want to give you dates on that, but I know Martin Luther King has talked about it, during his speeches, when he's talking about uh, giving people an equal platform to stand on.
Right.
Universal basic income would be something like that. I know there's certain presidents who's tried to establish the universal basic income, but then the process didn't fall
Yeah.
through. But it is definitely possible because what's happening right now is that the world is getting better and it's becoming richer. But what happens is that the wealth of the entire world goes to a select few. So we just need to redistribute that wealth in a way. So that's
And
where
UBI is a way of
is a
distributing.
way to do exactly.
So
So
are you aware of any country that has tried it?
I am aware there's countries that they've done trials like Canada. In America, Alaska still has one, but it's for Alaska, where they're getting the oil money from the oil that they're getting from there. We have there's a program in Kenya that's been going as well, so that's in Africa.
Yeah, but what are the limitations? I mean, off the top of my head, and I know one of your fellow students asked you this question, doesn't having the UBI equal a grant?
Yeah, so I like to distinguish between a grant and a universal basic income. Universal basic income doesn't have like certain criteria that you have to fit, so it'll go to every single individual of that nation. So the bare minimum requirement is being a citizen of that nation and being of a certain age, so like 18 and above. With grants, you have to either
Yeah,
be unemployed. And so what grants do is that you're unemployed and you're getting 10,000 Rand a month. Once you get a job that's 10,000 Rand a month, you're getting income tax, you're getting all these different other taxes that are coming in now. So you end up having less, but then you also get disqualified for the grant. So you're better off not working than actually working. Because if you get the job, you get less money and then you have more things to worry about. So that's what it forces people not to try better themselves in that case. So they'd rather just sit back and get that money, because if they try and improve themselves, then they're worse off than they were before.
and you guys had a very interesting debate about that, and it would be interesting to see. I mean, which nation eventually comes up with a UBI framework that can be implemented. Yeah, and as you said, I mean, it'll make people lazy is the assumption, right? But weren't there studies that were done on that?
Yeah, so there were studies done on that, and what they've found from these studies is that people actually either they focus on their families more, or they improve their own skills so that they can get higher paying jobs. So the idea of universal basic, if people start getting a certain amount a month, they're just going to use it on drugs and alcohol, is an idea that doesn't hold in terms of the studies and tests that they've done.
Which is interesting, right? Right now, the whole country is
Yeah.
trying to fight our president for restricting the use of and the trading of alcohol and cigarettes during this time. All those
Yeah.
assumptions, right? That it leads to chaotic behavior. But anyway, so the other interesting topic I want to, you mentioned that you are interested in emerging technologies. Is that an interest that just, I don't know, did it come from, was it triggered by something? Is it naturally? Because we hear that kids of your generation are born into a world of technology, so it's a no-brainer. What is your interest? What sparked it?
I was always fascinated about technology. Like I like sci-fi movies and cartoons. The Robinsons was one of my favorite ones, where it showed an idea of how the future would look, and I was like, I always wanted to live in that future, and that passion has grown with me. And now, like, I actually delve into like the different technologies that are there, and I try to learn more about them. So like right now, blockchain has to be one of my favorite topics to delve into, because it speaks about decentralizing things. And that for me is like, yes, why don't we have that? So
What
yeah,
does that mean
technology
to
is
you? Decentralizing things. What does that mean?
a way of better governance, and giving people equal say in whatever happens within that system.
And how do you go about learning these technologies?
The internet is an amazing place. So as we started, I've delved into different ways of learning, and self-learning has been one of the most consistent one throughout my journey. And I've learned how to find valuable resources online to get like real good information. So yeah, I use the internet to find resources on whatever topic I want to learn.
Are you one of those that believes that these emerging technologies are for the advantage or the betterment of humanity and societies as a whole?
I feel like everything comes with its pros and cons. Definitely, what technology is doing is it's giving more people access to things that previously they didn't have access to. Like today, someone who's in the middle class lives better than a king in the 16th century. We have telepresence, we can communicate to anyone we want in the world. We have, luxuries like plumbing and all of that. So that's all resultant of technology. And the improvement of technology is going to give us access to more abilities, things that right now only billionaires can do, like create a product and distribute it to millions of people. I believe that, the advancement of technology and automation is going to give us access to that.
What fascinates me is your view of the world and the role that the emerging technologies have to play. So here you are as a 23-year-old today about to enter the workforce, and yet the playing field looks very different to the way it looked when I was coming into the workforce. I mean, it was so much easier in relative terms for me to consider which career path I want to follow. There was a lot less disruption, probably a lot less choice, a lot less confusion. But today, you're walking into an absolute minefield. What does it feel like being 23 and faced with the reality that is in front of you guys today?
Personally, for myself, I haven't found like that one thing that I want to, like, I'll do this for the rest of my life sort of thing. Like, I love experimenting, delving into and learning new things as I go. So my sister actually likes saying that I'm like jack of all trades, master of none, but I feel like I'm trying to master myself. So I think that's where we're moving towards. It's like you have to have multiple skills, and then you're gonna put these skills together in unique, different ways. And I think that's something that artificial intelligence right now at the moment is not going to be able to do, because it's narrow. It only works on doing a certain thing. And I can take these technologies to create something even better.
Well, then more specifically, what do you want to do then?
I guess like there's no title for that. Trading time for money, it doesn't seem like a feasible thing in terms of going towards the future, whereby a certain trade is not guaranteed that it's gonna last forever. So if I'm literally trading my time for money, in whatever thing I'm doing, that thing could be irrelevant in a few years. And so I'd rather create solutions and then get the residual income from those solutions that I help create. So if it's whether it's advising other people on how to utilize technologies to improve their businesses and then get a portion of the earnings, that would be something I'd be really interested in doing, or like creating my own solutions and then creating passive income from that. I'd do the hard work in the beginning, and
what is that? What for you is the hard work? And I'll tell you why I'm asking, right? There is a tension between generations because our ideologies and value systems are slightly different in the way that we view work. So you, being the generation that you are, will probably get a lot of slack from the older generation who says you don't understand the value of hard work. You just think that things come neatly packaged, ready, and I'm just going to do this and I'm just going to do that, and you haven't put in the hard yards. So what do you mean by you'll obviously put in the hard yards first?
So as I say, like, coming up with a solution for a business, it's always on a case-to-case basis. So trying to figure out what is the right solution for said business is something you need to do research on. You need to try out and test out different solutions and then seeing which one best fits that business. So I think that's hard work, really focusing in on that and not necessarily just working to like fit the 5 hours, 8 hours a day that I need to put in at work. That for me, it's you just saying, okay, I'm waiting for clock out time. I clock out and then go back home, and then I forget about whatever I'm doing, trying to relax, and then I'll see it tomorrow again. Like for me, it's like, okay, here's the mission, and I'm gonna work really hard until I get that result that I want.
Right.
So I think that's that. Yeah.
You're going to come up against a lot of employers who are going to want their pound of flesh, right? Because they have created an environment for you to develop your skills, to bring your skills, and they create an environment where you learn from others, work in a team, complete certain tasks, and are not really married to the idea that you have a mission or a vision. They just want for their business, this is what we need right now, and this is your task, that's what we pay you for, so do that. And you've got, between 8 and 5 to do it. Are you saying that does not resonate at all?
I mean, those are the type of jobs that you need like automated systems to come do, to come up with new solutions is what I feel like people should be moving towards instead of doing repetitive jobs, because that's what we're creating these AIs and these robots to do. Like, you don't want me to come and sit for 8 hours and pack boxes when you can get a robot that's not going to complain about packing boxes, is not going to go for a trade union to pack boxes, and you don't have to pay it as, like, it works 24 hours. And, there's many benefits to automating certain tasks. And if you want human capital is far more valuable than that. And I think that by giving them, like, that's why, like, you find places like Google where they have set amounts of time. They say that, our employees, you can do whatever you want in that time and create whatever solution you want, because they understand the value in those smart people that they have around there. You as a company might think that this is the best way to run my business, but you're not tapping into the full potential of the people you're employing, because they might have different inputs and out, like, that could help your business. So I don't know.
So let me challenge you then. How are you going to look for a job?
Freelancing seems to be the thing for me. I get to, sit down with my potential employer for a certain task, and I work on that task. And once it's done, that's my contract. And then if they want to start a new contract, it'll be on that basis. Play on and I work on, and they have like commercial viability right now. So I do graphic design, photo editing, video editing, and I understand like technology, so I can advise businesses on how to enter a certain playing field, like social media. So I have some expertise in that, in a sense. I delve into many different types of resources, so I can tell people what solutions would work best for them. So I have like that as well, like consult. I do music production, I do a bit of programming, I do web development. So I have all these different things, and I'm still like, I still explore, and I still, whatever I gravitate towards, that's what I'd go to, because I feel like passion is a bigger driver than trying to feed yourself.
Do you think your peers view the workplace the same way you do? Would you say it's a generational thing, or is it just a Kabelo thing?
I think they're like 50% they agree with some of the things stand with. I feel like I'm on the other side of the bell curve, like the very extreme. There are certain aspects of what I believe that I think people resonate with, like people my age resonate with.
What do you guys see then as the future of work? What does it look like? If it were completely up to you to design, what would it look like? What would you advise somebody coming into the workplace?
Like, we think that we get our drive from work, but I don't think it should be a prerequisite that everyone should work. Like most people who work are very depressed. They'd rather be doing other things. That's why I think like universal basic income and like really embracing automation is a part to go. So, if people don't work, the world doesn't run, right? That's the case that everyone makes. Like, we have to work.
Yeah.
So if we're making these machines that will work for us, so that we can not work and do other things. So that's like, find out like what you would like and explore that. And I think computers and machines can't explore as much as a human mind can.
So if your view of the world is that we need to use the technologies that we've developed and continue to advance them so that we have an army of intelligent computers and robots who do all of the heavy lifting work for us so that we are free to do the things we really want to do. So me pursuing my own passions and stuff, to what end?
I mean, we come from being in caves, and we focused our time and energy on certain things, and we delved into our minds and we started creating the world that we have right now. I think that's the thing. Like we can't comprehend that right now, because you could ask a caveman, go farm, then they would ask, to what end? Why should I do this repetitive task? You're going to give rise to a civilization like we have today. And I think if we also start exploring in that lane, we're going to create a world that's far greater than the one that we have right now.
So you think that when we free humans from pretty much mindless tasks, right, that are jobs and careers of today, from work as we currently describe it and understand it, then we're free to imagine the next frontier.
We live on a speck right now that is planet Earth. We still have this solar system to explore, not even the galaxy, not even the whole universe, just our solar system, our own backyard that we can still explore and mine resources from other worlds, like and create new things. I think there's still so much potential left for humans that we still stuck on this blue planet, and we think that, oh, we have limited resources. No, we don't have limited resources. We just need to step out of the current place we're in. Like,
you're making my job.
There's still levels.
You're making my job very difficult, right? On one aspect, I'm intrigued by the fact that you are thinking beyond the now. You are imagining what is possible. You're imagining about, what it is to push the boundaries of what we think we know and understand. And I celebrate that in you completely. And in fact, that is the one thing that keeps me drawn to your generation. On the other hand, I've got a business that ultimately has to report back to your parents, to say, what did you do to my child? And is he going to be employable? Is he going to be an entrepreneur in the very near future? Because I want him off my couch and out there fending for himself. So somewhere in between is the dose of reality. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't that bug you?
We did a program in the first 2 months with you guys, which was Who Am I?
Right.
I think what I've learned about that is it's emotional intelligence, which was something that I didn't put as a high importance in my line of thinking, because I'm always thinking about, oh, technology, what this, how do I think what learning that has brought me down to earth a bit. In order for me to reach whatever vision I want to reach, I'm going to have to work with other people, and I have to understand what other people, feel and like and don't like, and see how I can fit their narrative with mine. So that has brought me down, and I learned about the person I am and the struggles that come with the person, the type of person that I am. And those things have been holding me back from actually doing the things that I want to do. So that's something that I really struggled with until IGY. So
you're earning some money.
Yeah. So slowly but surely, I'll, I'm like, the lessons are still sinking in. I go back to them. Sometimes I'll catch myself off guard. But yeah, I'm
good.
Growing as an individual.
So in closing, what message would you have for people like your parents? How would you, I don't know, what would you say to them during this time? Because we're all living in a state of complete flux, uncertainty. And for parents that have, kids your age, 18, 19, 20, year 23, are probably even more stressed and frustrated right now, not knowing how to guide you into adulthood where you are economically active. What would you say to calm them down or put them at ease?
Have a little bit more faith in your children. Um, I just think just try support your child. And they're gonna make mistakes, and like just make sure you instill the correct lessons. I think that's really hard to figure out, like what are the right lessons to instill in them. Um, but yeah, have faith, and like we humans have been through the most, and we've always come out on top, you know. And I
Yeah.
think that is always the case. We'll always come out on top.
You understand that to a frustrated parent who has had an overgrown 10-year-old in their house, and by overgrown I mean 23 and still behaving like a 10-year-old, meaning that they are directionless, they seem to be catching all kinds of trouble all the time, not communicating any sort of direction or desire or showing any interest in anything. To that parent, that advice falls on deaf ears, because no parent, I will venture to say, is unwilling to support. But it's a two-way street, right? So what would you say to your peers?
Like it starts with you. You have to make the decision if you want to get out of the situation that you're in. There's so much that people can do to help you, but until you decide, it's not going to happen for you.
Right.
Like you have to want to change your circumstance. I think that's one of the most important messages that, like anyone who's in my situation would need to hear. That everyone can give you, all the advice, all the motivation in the world. All of that does not matter until
Right.
you decide that it's time for me to change.